All right, so here's where it stands. I've got the transmissions all hooked up, shifter linkage is all hooked up. What else? Yesterday I got the heater hose on, the upper radiator hose on. Sorry, not the heater hose, radiator hose. Got this bracket on for the generator. Dipstick is in. The wires are all routed. I already pre-did them while I was on the engine stand. I did all that work just to verify that everything looked good. And you could see nothing down there is going to be touching. So these are routed underneath, and there's like little clips on the oil pan where it clips in, and then there's two little clips on the side where this side clips in. Non-HEI, so just the standard style. These are Tyler Spiros, 8 millimeters. This is all done on this side. This one's running. These two are running through behind the bracket on the starter, and they run in between the same way. They're tight up against the block with the little clips that hold them in place. And then there's two down here. Sorry, you can see them right there. And then these run this way. And so that's about how much clearance you get with this whole thing. So that's done. Got the fan on. The fan is ready to go. Fan pulley is good. It's ready to go. What else? Shifter. I need to clean it up and set the ball right, but you get the gist. It shifts. Feels pretty good. There's neutral. So I'll get that tightened up once I get working in here. If you ever have any gasket issues, these are the ones to get. These are Remflex, and they're kind of like, they're not hard. They're not like a hard material. They're really soft. So you want to make sure, but these will seal really well. So these are good for doing gaskets. I'll replace the one that's down there. This is actually, this one right here is a Remflex one. It's a little loose right now. But I have another one to put on there. So I need one for this side, and then for this, you use a donut. So what a donut is, it's right here. There's Lucy again, just a donut. These come in different sizes, and basically because there's underneath on the ram horns, it's flanged, right? There's like a lip inside there that runs along the inside, I guess a flange. And then over here, these are my exhaust pipes. Another thing that's funny is back in the day, when I first got this, I talked to Allen's Exhaust. They're no longer in business, but basically this sits right in here. And then you tighten everything up, right? There's a 3 flange, and this has a front crossover. But I ordered these for 2-inch, right? Thinking, okay, it's Corvette. Well, the ram horns I have were 2.5. So I had to go to a machine shop or to a muffler shop and have them basically cut this and put this piece on, make it wider so I can connect it. It works just fine. It's not numbers matching or anything. So I'll get those cleaned up on another day. The drive line is painted. It's outside waiting. It's painted black, and so I can get that put in. Most of the work I got to do underneath is I've got to get the fuel pump on before I do anything on this side. I can put the overflow tank on. I may do that. I'm not going to do that tonight. I think I'm done for tonight because it's just going to be a light night tonight. Tomorrow I'll put the, I'm hoping to get the the fuel pump on, get the fuel lines all hooked up. Those are already on the fuel pump. It's just a matter of how they route. Now for fuel pump lines, don't use rubber lines. Those things are garbage, man. They'll eat through. The gas nowadays will just eat right through. What I use, my buddy had a machine shop, a hot rod shop or a speed shop, and he worked for super shops back in the day. But what I did is I went to his shop, got a bunch of AN fittings, right, and I'm running AN fittings, and this goes up here. This is a great company, Red Horse. This is a fuel filter that you can clean out and clean it and put it back in. They come in different sizes. This is just a AN-6 size. And then this is a banjo style fill line, fill fitting. Basically what you do is, instead of having it come off of here, this is a banjo style, it's right here. So fuel goes in here, right? Goes through that little hole, and then it gets pushed through. You can see there's a little hole. There's a hole through these, goes all the way through, and then the fuel will go into your carb. Great little product to have if you have an Edelbrock. You can run it underneath, so it goes down. It runs along here, along the side of the frame. Usually, I think it runs on this one. It kind of dog legs out because I have this heater hose outlet. So it dog legs out a little bit, and then I run it down through the frame between the front motor mount. Sorry, in the engine, right on the front of the engine, and that's why I have this piece of just protective. You can get this like at O'Reilly's or whatever, just line protection. But yeah, this thing here, these will never leak. I mean, guys in race cars use this stuff, and this stuff is great. So this is the type of line I would use. If you don't want to fire, you don't want fuel, that's a good way of going. Now on the back, I do still have a little rubber piece. That's more of the, which eventually I'll replace with, better fuel line eventually. But that part's fine. It's mainly up here because it gets all the heat back here. That one back there, it's not even near a exhaust pipe, so it doesn't really get much heat. It's actually protected underneath the tire. It's right, I don't know, it's right there. It's right on the top of the frame. You can't really see it, but it's right there on the top of the frame. So just a small piece of rubber line. You shouldn't use all steel line going down. You want a little bit of flex, right? Because your motor flexes. And so you need to give that little give in there. But that's up to you. I did have a hard line and then went usually hard line and then soft down by there was a Corvette. They make a little short Corvette Central, short little fill line. Problem with that, the fuel that we run nowadays, it ate right through it. I mean, I probably had to replace 3 of them. So I'm like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like I said, I went to my buddy's shop, said, how can we fix this? And this is what we came up with. Works great. So what I'm going to do is I'll install this tomorrow probably. I'll get this installed. I have all the other pieces in my box. So it's all right here. It's already ready to go. So basically you put a long bolt, which I have a junky old long bolt in here. What I do is I just put this through the front of the block, grease up my fuel push rod so it'll hold in place while I tighten this down to where it hits the side of your push rod. It'll hold it in place. The one thing you have to check is sometimes what happens is you may be on the wrong base, right, on the circle. And what you want to be able to do is you don't want to have to fight and push this in because it doesn't have to move a whole lot, but it has that much movement. So what you want is it to be at the longest travel, so that when you put this in, you'll feel the difference. So you rotate the motor, you feel it, and then once you feel it hit the base of the circle, that's the longest, then you can go ahead, tighten down that bolt, and then once you have that done, then you can put your little adapter plate, base plate, whatever you want to call it, put that on, put RTV. I don't really use RTV on this. I use gasket cinch. So gasket cinch will go along here, put it on there, run the two bolts in just to hold it in place, right? And then you end up putting the other 2 bolts through here, do the same thing, put gasket cinch, put it in place. And then what I do is I replace this bolt here, one of these bolts. I got an extra one in here. I just take this bolt out, put the shorty in there. And I made sure that the short one clears, right? That it doesn't put little, you know, you don't really need to use RTV or anything. There's not a whole lot of oil pressure that goes that direction. You don't even have to have it on when you're priming the engine. There's no, I mean, very little oil gets through there. It's not under pressure. So anyway, that's what I'll do tomorrow. I'll get that all done. Once I have that done, then I can take the one starter bolt off, since I put the starter on while the engine was on the engine stand. Run the negative, you know, to the short end of the starter post, and then finish up wiring in the starter. I don't hook it up until the day I fire, so I leave everything unhooked. That battery's probably needs to be charged anyway. I'll leave the negative on, but the positive I just keep off until I'm ready to fire it. With this whole thing, it's pretty easy to tell which one's negative, which one's positive, because the one end on here is actually NOS. So it looks kind of, let's see here, it's right here. Yeah, it's got a little, sorry, it has a little clip right there, right? And so you can see it's all beat up because I take it on, take it off, you know, on and off by my hands. So usually if I park it like overnight, I don't leave my Corvette plugged in. I just unplug it from here. So I just take it and, you know. But yeah, I'll get this all done tomorrow. Then I can put the generator in. I just want to be able to get light down there. So I want to be able to, if I have to reach it down there with my hands, I can get to the fuel pump from the top or the bottom, right? With the generator here, it's really hard to get to. So there's that. I still have to grease. I have to get some, I have gear oil, but I kind of like the one with the squeezy to get in there, you know, the squeeze container. But I don't have one of those for right now. I do have gear oil, I think, but I'm not going to use that gear oil that I have. So I got to get gear oil. I've got to get heater hoses. I think probably maybe 5 feet of 5/8 and 5 feet of 3/4 would do it. Maybe I'll get 6 feet just to cover it. But what I'll do on there is get the heater installed, get the heater hoses on the heater box, bring them around, and then to cut them, I use a PVC pipe cutter. It makes a real nice clean cut. By that, you know, if you ever had to do yard work where you're replacing sprinklers, it's right here. One of these bad boys right here makes a nice cut. So you just, you know, figure out your length and then cut it. I like having the fan in with the fan belt on, so I can see how far it's going to go, because if you look, this needs to kick out a little bit right here. The outlet on the water pump, it needs to kick out a little bit, so that way it'll clear, right? This one here isn't nearly as bad. You can just, you know, come from here and loop it around, and they just go right through here, so they can get held, so they don't get burned by your exhaust manifolds. And then they eventually go up and under the firewall. That's why you need like 5 feet or 6 feet. If I got 6 feet, I think that would cover it, because it does kind of go, if you look, kind of goes up underneath the firewall, and then goes down here and connects. It's not a straight shot, right? So you need that little extra length. So I'll get that tomorrow. Then I can go ahead, after I have that done, then the next thing I got to do is install the drive shaft. I've got to install the clutch shaft. The clutch assembly is down, you know, on this side, so I got to do all that work. And then once I have that done, that's it. Usually the clutch is the last thing I ever do, because I need one of my sons to come out, push on the clutch on this rod right here. You know, this is your clutch, and it won't stay up or down. So you need somebody to push it while I'm doing this leveraging thing, because what this has is the Gorilla spring. So this is an original spring for this. Came off of one of my cars, Corvettes, but there's a big ass spring here. Some people call it the big ass spring. I just call it a Gorilla spring. This is the cross shaft right here, so it rides like that. But basically, it's a breakover point. Where's that at? I don't know if it's in here. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. So this bad boy. It looks really like it's going to be a tough thing to put on, and it's not really that bad. What you do is you basically get everything on the bottom hooked up first, and once you have everything on the bottom hooked up, then and then you have everything on the actually. Let me step back on that. Once you have everything hooked up on the once you have the cross shaft in, you've got the parts for that set up. Then what you do, and you have basically, this is the bracket. Once you have that has the ball on it right down there. So you have that ball, all that stuff put on the bottom. Then you get your cross shaft. Your cross shaft's on. It's kind of loosey-goosey, right? It's loose. Then what I do is I take, and I added the Zerk right here, fitting so I can get these lubed. But what you do is you take a crescent wrench, and you take your crescent wrench and you pull from right here, and basically pull it back to where the distance for that, there's like a breakover point. And once you get to that breakover point, then you just need leverage to come back to the firewall. So you go, and then this will go right in. It'll connect. So it takes a couple of tries to get it, but once you get it down, it's not that bad. I prefer the feel having the breakover spring because it gives you, it returns a little bit quicker, and I can feel it. Some people, you don't really need to use it with a diaphragm style clutch. You only need those if you have required to have those if you have a 3-prong. But for me, I like to feel this, then just it gives me that little sense of reliability, I think. I just like the feel on the pedal. So that's why I install this. But yeah, so that'll be one of the last things I do. And then it's just fire it the day that, we need to fire it up. I'll probably just leave all this other stuff on there. These, see, I got to hide these because my son will take them. He'll go, oh yeah, I grabbed those. And then I got to reorder another set. So there's those. But yeah, fuel pump stuff will be next. I'll do that tomorrow after work. And then we'll see how far I can go. Try to get the overflow tank on. I'll try to get the generator all in the starter hooked up. It just depends on how much time I want to spend out here. If I had this thing running by like Sunday, I'd be happy, right? If we fired it up on Sunday, that's fine for me. I don't need to have it running. There's nothing I'm doing this weekend for a car show that's pressing. So if I can get this thing rocking and rolling by this weekend, and I know I can hear the engine running, then I'd feel like, hey, I'm good, and then I can take it on the road. I'll get my son's help to put the hood on. The hood, we've already marked it on the bracket, but basically what you do is you turn this way. You just go up like that, and then you set your hood on, and then there's 2 bolts on this side, 2 bolts on that side, and then on this right here, this is the hood support. Oh, yeah. So there it is. This is the hood support, and this comes up and locks in place. That's the hood. And if you know what these are, put it in the comments. I know what they are. Some people don't know, so you can learn. But yeah, there is a special wrench and socket sets that you have to get for these. But GM used them. They used them on a few things. Not a whole lot, but they did. So if you know what kind of fasteners those are. But yeah, we're getting there. I'm getting there. So hopefully, like I said, by this weekend, I'll be able to just fire this puppy right up. No break-in. Just make sure it has good oil pressure. We got the timing set. We may have to mess with the distributor. I think it's fine. I think where I have it, number one's pointing over there. I think the distributor's fine, but we'll find out. My son's better at that anyway. He can dial it in. The only thing I said is that with this is you have a rear tack drive, so you only have so much movement, right? You can only go so far, and then from here it's going to hit, and from here it's going to hit. So you just have to make sure that you have enough timing to be able to dial that in. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, I guess that's it for tonight. Talk to you later.